Lord Chedworth will see you later. You're not to leave the house. Lord Chedworth will see you later. Will you please not leave the house?
Will you tell the noble lord we will see him sooner, not later?
I'll call you when he wishes to see you. Lord Chedworth will see you now.
What do you want for breakfast? I have pills and coffee.
I'm more of a bacon and eggs man.
You'll get a heart like me?
Until then.
Bacon and eggs. Sit down.
Thank you.
You don't look clever.
It is one of my natural advantages.
I'm going to publish your memoirs in the Sunday World, am I?
So I'm told.
I have a contract here. A lot of money.
You are rich?
Yes. Are you?
I am comfortable.
And you're a great detective.
I've had my successes.
No one knows you here?
I've told no one, at your request.
That's not an answer.
Several people have seen me in your anteroom. If they know who I am, they know that I'm here.
They don't count. No one else?
No.
I've got something for you to do.
Oh.
Someone here is trying to kill me.
Who?
If I knew that, I wouldn't need you.
What do you know?
We'll come to that later. First of all, is it on?
On.
Will you take the job?
What job?
You sure you're clever?
Quite sure.
Well?
Lord Chedworth, you have yet to define the job.
Find out who is trying to kill me.
And prevent him or her from doing it.
Yes.
No.
What have you got?
Back later. Keep filing, keep smiling.
Mine's less poetic. If the avocado pear is for lunch, vinaigrette, hot mayonnaise.
So, where's he gone?
Mystery. Only the great man himself can solve it. But we can make 2 deductions.
Can we?
1, it's not far.
Why not?
Because our employer does not travel on an empty stomach. 2, it's a posh sort of place with a first-class chef. Say why?
I don't want to say why.
Because our employer has come to expect, nay more, to demand, an exceptionally high standard of breakfast.
All right, I'll make it part of the deal. You've got all those files. I'll assign you 2 of my brightest boys from the world. They can work with your secretary, write the whole book for you. All you have to do is to put your name to it.
Leaving me free to work for you?
Yes.
No.
What was the last figure I offered you?
Lord Chedworth, you know perfectly well what it was.
Perhaps you are clever.
You're getting to know me.
I'll raise it 250 a week.
And expenses.
Yes.
Free bacon and eggs, baccy, beer.
Yes?
No.
I'm not accustomed to being refused.
If your life is in danger, you should go to the police.
I want you. Now, what do you want?
I shall shortly be applying for a new passport. Against the word profession, instead of police officer, I want to write none.
Not author?
Hardly professional.
All right, then, not author. Not as far as the Sunday world is concerned. And what are you going to do now? Sue me? I warn you, I have a good 20 lawsuits running at this moment. Most of them for breach of contract. Take a smarter lawyer than you can afford to get a single penny out of me.
As I say to myself at least once a week, thank God there are other papers besides the Sunday World. Lord Chedworth, I shall break the habit of a lifetime and leave my breakfast unfinished. Good day to you all.
Stop.
Why?
I like your style.
I must lend it to you sometime.
I can untear that contract in 10 seconds flat.
I prefer it torn.
Don't tell anyone you've been here. Just think the whole thing over for 24 hours. Come back tomorrow morning, same time. Name your figure, I'll pay it.
But...
Good day to you. Mr. Rose will be here at the same time tomorrow.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, he really is extremely busy. I can't possibly disturb him. Can I take a message? Oh, I see. Yes, I have that message already. I'll give it to him as soon as he's free. Goodbye. You're not asleep.
Why not?
You'd be snoring.
I hate you.
I'm not mad about you. We were supposed to write the first chapter of the book today.
I'm not in a creative mood.
Are you in a mood for hearing telephone messages?
No.
An anonymous secretary rang no less than 4 times to remind you of your appointment at 8 tomorrow morning.
I do not need reminding.
Nigel Chinnery rang twice about delivery dates.
Go away.
Are you going to stay there all evening as well as all day?
I have been tempted by the devil. I told him to get behind me, of course. He asked me to go away and tempt myself. That makes things much more difficult.
Are you being greedy about money again?
Money means nothing to me, provided I have enough of it. No, the present temptation strikes at my weakest point.
Vanity?
Damnable, insatiable curiosity. The one thing I cannot bear is that there's something going on which I simply do not understand. And in order to resist the terrible urge to find out, I have to make a supreme effort of willpower, stiffen my sinews, summon up my blood.
Force yourself to lie down and do nothing at all.
Exactly.
Bang goes my solution.
To what?
The mystery of where you went this morning. I couldn't bear not knowing, so I worked it out.
Damnable curiosity.
Just like a detective. Mighty like a rose. Looked at the mileage on your car. You've done 30. 15 there, 15 back. Now, who lives 15 miles away?
100,000?
Capable of giving you the kind of breakfast you require.
Very few.
One of them being the proprietor of the well-known scandal sheet, which is about to publish your memoirs.
Ah.
I tell myself this is more than coincidence. He went to breakfast with Lord Chedworth.
Very good.
Is he right?
No, I'm not. I just heard the news. This morning, Lord Chedworth had his breakfast in another place.
What do you mean?
He was found dead in his bed of a nice, peaceful heart attack.
Was he indeed?
Oh, well, I was wrong. Try again.
Oddly enough, however, I am having breakfast there tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Rose.
Good morning, Mr. Rose. How do you do? I'm Miss Hillier.
Good morning. We have met.
Oh, it was good of you to come. Of course you've heard.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Yes, it was very peaceful. But Mr. Brush and Mr. Grant did want to keep the appointment. You'll excuse me, I'll see if they will.
Will you be taking breakfast, sir?
Yes.
What can I get you, sir?
Oh, I think the same as I had yesterday.
I beg your pardon, sir.
The same as I had, but did not finish yesterday.
I'm sorry, sir, but what was that?
Bacon and eggs, toast, marmalade, coffee.
Bacon and eggs, yes, sir.
Would you come in, Mr. Rose?
Thank you.
Ah. Good morning, Mr. Rose. How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Robin Brush, Lord Chedworth's nephew.
Yes.
You've heard, of course.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was very peaceful. And this is Tom Grant, editor-in-chief of our newspapers.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Oh, do sit down, Mr. Rose.
Thank you.
A cigarette?
No, thank you.
Well, as you know, my uncle had wanted to see you this
Yes.
morning. We were anxious to keep the appointment in order to clear up what might otherwise have been a misunderstanding.
On what point?
Well, my uncle was a very strange man,
To put it mildly.
especially in the last few years. His mind was active and vigorous as ever, but, well, what shall I say?
The egomania blossomed into megalomania with a few other manias thrown in.
Yes, he did some quite extraordinary things off his own bat, without consulting us, without even telling us. Our main function as his right-hand men was to go around clearing up his messes.
With a small bucket and a blunt shovel.
So we weren't entirely surprised when we found this.
My contract.
Yes.
In the waste paper basket.
Yes. Not a word to us. Not a word to anyone. He must have suddenly decided for no reason at all.
There was, in fact, a reason.
But we do want to assure you that the Sunday World will honor the contract exactly as agreed. It's simply a question of making new copies, asking you for a new signature, and asking you if you'd be good enough to forgive.
And forget.
Yes, we'd prefer you not to mention it.
There are too many bad stories about the old bastard already,
Yes, we'd like to clean up his image.
insofar as is humanly possible.
When I met Lord Chedworth yesterday morning, he was not at his most charming. Well, have I said something wrong?
You met Lord Chedworth,
Yesterday morning.
but you can't have.
Here. You both saw me.
No.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Rose, but yesterday morning, my uncle never even woke up.
Then I suppose he walked in his sleep.
I don't understand.
Nor I.
Oh, Miss Hillier, was Mr. Rose here yesterday morning?
Oh, no, Mr. Brush's appointment with Lord Chedworth was for this morning.
You're quite sure?
Well, I made the arrangement with Mr. Rose myself some days ago and confirmed it with his secretary yesterday several times, if you look in the diary.
Oh, yes. It's 8 a.m. today, Rose. 8 a.m. yesterday?
Yourself and Mr. Grant.
Oh, yes, of course it was. What do you care to see?
Thank you, Miss Hillier.
Breakfast.
Oh, come in, Tomlinson. Would you sit over here, Mr. Rose?
Thank you.
The bacon and eggs for you, sir, wasn't it?
As crisp as yesterday, I hope.
I beg your pardon, sir.
As crisp as the bacon that you gave me yesterday.
I'm sorry, sir,
When I was here.
No, sir.
Tomlinson, what did happen yesterday?
Well, sir, Lord Chedworth always used to wake up and ring for me. Usually about 7. He liked an early start. He always had his first appointments at 8. But I couldn't go in his room until he rang. I mean, it was more than my life was worth. Well, 7 o'clock came and nothing happened, and then it got on towards 8. And I was worried because I knew that Mr. Brush and Mr. Grant were waiting to see him. But I didn't dare. If you'd known Lord Chedworth, you know what I'd mean. But when it got to near on 9, I thought there must be something wrong. So I plucked up my courage, crept into his room, and there he was, in bed, looking as if he'd just died.
So you summoned the household?
Yes, sir.
And the doctor, of course.
No, sir.
I sent for the doctor.
Well, thank you, Tomlinson. We'll do the rest ourselves.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tomlinson.
The doctor's name is Leonard Hallett. He lives half a mile down the road. Lord Chedworth's doctor for many years. At least while the Lord was down here.
And no doubt he arrived with all possible speed.
Yes?
And certified...
Death from a heart attack, as he'd long expected.
Coffee, Mr. Rose?
Thank you. Surely there's one other person to give a performance.
Who?
A lady.
You may perhaps know that Eleanor Gray is our women's editor. Oh, Miss Hillier, ask Miss Gray to come in, would you? You may not know that she's about to become my wife.
Congratulations. I thought her very beautiful. That is, if I actually saw her.
Mr. Rose, we are not seeking to convince you that you're mad. We are seeking to convince you that the weight of evidence would be very much against you.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it?
So much so that no one would believe you.
An ex-chief inspector of police.
Even that.
Good morning. No, please don't get up. Carry on with your breakfast.
Oh, Eleanor, this is Mr. Rose.
Oh, how do you do?
How do you do? I believe I have to congratulate you on your marriage to Lord Chedworth.
What?
Well, surely you're Lord Chedworth now, aren't you?
Yes.
Of course, I didn't mean...
We are not yet married.
Miss Gray, may I ask you, or may I safely assume that you've never seen me before?
Never.
No one would believe me.
No one.
You may be right. But I can think of 2 or 3 people who might lend me their ear.
Who?
The proprietors of your rival Sunday papers. Let's put this back where you found it, shall we? And finish our breakfast. I finished my breakfast without saying a word.
I'd have enjoyed that bit.
Except, of course, for a final goodbye. Well, that's the story. Now, do you want an explanation?
Can you?
No.
As I thought.
1 or 2 facts emerge. John?
On the morning of the death, you left Chedworth's house about 8:30. Now, unless the doctor's a liar too.
Which we have no reason to believe.
As yet.
A point which Drusilla will check on.
Me? How?
We can assume Lord Chedworth died in the next half hour, say 9 o'clock. We can also reasonably assume that he died in his wheelchair at his desk.
Why?
There are some men who have been known to go back to bed after breakfast.
Only on Sundays.
Lord Chedworth was not one of them. We don't know how he died.
But you think it was murder?
We do not jump to conclusions, even though we have nasty, suspicious natures. All we know is it was something that could be passed off as a heart attack.
Given the doctor's not a liar, on which point Drusilla will check.
How?
We can assume the death was not solitary. But with 3 people waiting to see him, and the secretary and the manservant in and out of the room all the time...
Plus the fact
that between his death and the arrival of the doctor, 1 or more of those people pushed the corpse into its bedroom and put it to bed.
Is the bedroom upstairs?
Immaterial. There's a lift.
Anyway, they're all in it together, since they're all telling the same lie.
Exactly. Anything else?
Yes. How were the avocados?
You have cured me of my liking for vinaigrette. I meant any other points.
Yes. In your clumsy, vulgar way, you made a terrible faux pas about marriage to Lord Chedworth, which embarrassed the beautiful Miss Gray.
Embarrassed is hardly the word.
A gentleman is someone who is never rude unintentionally.
That is a remark of John Wilkes, the greatest scoundrel of his time. What else?
Salmon. With mayonnaise. My mayonnaise. Help yourselves.
You have, of course, missed the most important point of all. Why did they wish to conceal the fact of my visit?
Because they wish to conceal something funny about the death.
Not enough in itself.
I haven't finished yet. And because they know what Lord Chedworth said to you. Someone here is trying to kill me.
10 out of 10.
But how could they possibly have known that? I mean, obviously he wouldn't have told them.
Unlikely.
Broom bugged? Tape recorder?
It will be your job to find out.
Right.
I give you the hint that today is Saturday. And there is a pub in the village called the Chedworth Arms, and Tomlinson, the manservant, has a drinker's nose, if ever I saw one.
The hint is broad.
I shall wait and receive visitors. In the meantime, poor Drusilla.
Why?
Poor Drusilla, you're going to have rather a nasty accident. What sort of accident would you prefer?
Drink that.
Oh, thank you.
And you sit quiet for a time.
I am starting to come round.
Good, good. Now drink that water and sit quiet.
I'm so sorry to bother you like this.
Not at all. What am I here for?
You see, I was driving along and and I suddenly started to feel dizzy. So I stopped the car, and I got out, and I saw the brass plate on your front door. I suppose I fainted.
Yes, well, that's what often happens when you're pregnant.
What?
How far gone are you? A couple of months?
Yes, that's right.
You must take it easy, you know. Make your husband do the driving.
I was only going up to Chedworth Park.
Oh, yes? Are you a friend of theirs?
Oh, no, just to see the gardens. Aren't they open to the public at weekends?
Yes, first weekend in every... Not today, I'm afraid.
Oh?
Certainly not today. You know, Lord Chedworth just died.
I hadn't seen the papers.
Yesterday morning. Heart attack, poor old thing. Bing, just like that. I told him.
Were you his doctor?
Those specialist fellows in London used to give him all these pills, tablets, drugs, buckets full of them. All I did when he came down here was to tell him the truth. They're no good for you, I told him. They're against nature. They're a shock to your system, and any kind of shock can kill you. The only way you can stay alive, oh, I told him time and again, is to give up working and take things easy. But he wouldn't listen to me. And what's the result? I go along there yesterday morning, and there he is. Heart attack. Gone in a flash. I could tell at a glance. Single glance.
Yes, I'm sure you could.
Now, I'm going to give you a good old-fashioned pick-me-up. Won't do you any harm. I make it myself, mostly sugar and water. And you tell that husband of yours to look after you.
Yes, I will.
I think this is the one. Can you tell me what it says on that bottle?
Evening, Mr. Tomlinson, the usual?
The usual.
Sorry to hear about the Lord.
Thanks.
You'll come in for something in the will, I suppose.
Right. Have the second one on me. Anyone who can do that.
Thanks. Who are you with?
The Honorable Gervais Lumby.
Round here?
Night Hall. Borrowed his car.
Valet?
Valet chauffeur. 2 for the price of 1. Well, death to all employers.
I'll vote for that. Mine died yesterday.
Oh?
25 years with it.
Oh, yes.
Bloody good riddance.
Mud in your eye.
Cheers. Apart from the fact that my house is on your way down from London, to what am I indebted?
I thought that you'd like to see an early edition of Tomorrow's World.
How kind?
With a reference to yourself.
Ah, that nice chap Pendrell who writes the gossip column.
I wrote this one myself.
Ex-Chief Inspector Charles Rose, who's writing a book about his experiences at Scotland Yard, had an appointment to meet Lord Chedworth the morning after his death. Lord Chedworth had long been an admirer of the famous detective and had personally arranged to buy his book for publication in the Sunday World. The price is still a well-guarded secret even from your humble servant. But my guess is 5 figures and not beginning with a 1.
I spoke to your publisher, Chinnery. Told him Lord Chedworth had decided to improve his offer. We were sending you a new contract.
You're not by any wild chance trying to bribe me.
I wouldn't be such a fool.
That's what I thought.
I'm simply making it impossible for any other paper to compete.
Ah, yes.
Oh, I know the market. They'd all like your book. But not for 5 figures beginning with a 2.
Not even if it included the story of my visits to Chedworth Park.
You're shockingly ignorant on some points.
Sure.
There's a golden rule in Fleet Street. Dog does not eat dog.
I was afraid of that.
I have in my files well-authenticated stories about the proprietors and chief editors of other papers, which under no circumstances would I ever publish.
Then why keep them?
I'm a newspaper man. I have a passion for knowing the truth, even if I can't print it.
Another drink?
And a passion for scotch. Thank you. What damages the boss man of a newspaper damages the newspaper. And what damages a newspaper damages the entire press of this country.
Yes, I see that.
Which is why it's better for the story to be that Lord Chedworth died peacefully in his bed.
Mr. Grant, I myself have, if not a passion for knowing the truth, at least a tiny hankering.
Mud in your eye.
25 years with him. 25 years with that bastard.
Rough.
Stories I can tell you.
Go on, then.
Go on what?
Tell me.
Can't.
Why not?
More than my job's worth.
He's dead now, isn't he?
That's right. That's why.
What do you mean, that's why?
Sworn to secrecy.
Who that?
New man. New lord.
What's he like?
He's as pleased as I am. More. I never said that.
Said what?
The last thing I said, I never said it, right?
Right.
Right.
I'm not saying that absolute power corrupts. I'm simply saying it makes a man inhuman in his dealings with other men.
Then why stay with him?
Money.
Just that.
Oh, he was a great newspaper man once. Great flair.
Which you respected.
Admired.
Admire.
Once. I never had that kind of flair. But I'm a brilliant technician. Brilliant. I can lay out a front page better than anybody else in the world.
I believe you.
I wouldn't take more than a year's contract. People told me I was mad, but I wouldn't. And each year I handed in my resignation, and each year he offered me more money.
Difficult.
In return for which he demanded the right to the entire use of my brain, and the right to humiliate me in public and in private as and when he chose.
Galling.
Oh, I was lucky. I wasn't one of the family. He took a special delight in humiliating them. He treated his nephew like a newly joined office boy. He treated his brother like the lowest of the low.
His brother?
Robin's father. You've met Robin?
Yes.
Well, old Bob Brush was a nice, sweet, decent, ordinary man. He slowly wilted under the strain. 10 years ago, he went on a long rest cure. In heaven, I hope. Though the other place would be a rest cure, too.
You're too old a drinker simply to be talking in your cups.
Oh, yes.
You have a purpose for telling me all this.
Make what you like of it. I'm simply saying that never a week passed in my long association with Lord Chetworth. I didn't wish him dead. Well, now it's happened. And I'm saying the world's a better place.
Mm-hmm.
You'll not find one man who will shed one tear on that grave.
Woman.
Oh, yes, one. There are women who feed on humiliation.
Yes.
None of his wives did. They left him. No. The one virginal survivor. The devoted doormat. Miss Hillier.
This is your room. Where's the light?
By the door.
What for?
What's the time?
1/2 closing time.
Old cowl here is just overhead.
What old cow?
Miss Hillier, secretary. Private confidential secretary. Cow.
What's the matter with her, then? Glasses?
In the cupboard.
Cupboard. Ah, yes.
Can't even go in without her permission. Wait outside and she says yes. Can't see Lord if she says no. Can't do this, can't do that. Can't even hand him his pills and glass of water. Oh no, let me tell you. Like mother, like wife, worse than a wife, spy. Over here is now reporters Lord Chetworth.
You said he's dead.
Good.
Glasses are dirty.
Under the tap.
Ah, right. Pity she's like that. She the only woman in the house. I said, she the only woman in the house. No pretty ones.
Are you looking for something?
Lord Chedworth's desk.
That's strange. So am I. It's in there.
After you.
You might run. After you. Lord Chedworth's desk.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at you. Burglar? No. Detective? No. Someone sent by Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Hoping to find proof of murder?
Hoping to find what may or may not be findable.
We could have taken it away.
Yes, you could have.
Go home and tell him we've taken it away.
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
What were you hoping to find?
I've wanted to go through this desk for years. I've had to wait till the owner was dead.
Because there might be something about you.
Of course.
Which you might want to burn.
Which I might want to use in my autobiography.
Sorry, I'm holding you up.
It's all right. The desk is locked.
Yes, pity.
And I have the key.
Which you're not going to lend me.
That's right.
Not even if I ask you nicely.
You smell of beer.
So I should.
What do I smell of?
Balma, Mitsuko.
You're wrong.
It's the only one I ever remember. Well, I can't find anything. Your turn.
That's all right. I'll wait till you've gone.
Who said I'm going? I'm interested.
In what?
Most of all, in you.
Do I have to kiss you goodnight to get rid of you?
That would be nice.
I'm spoken for.
Nevertheless.
Tomlinson. Tomlinson. What are you doing in here?
Looking through this desk out of vulgar curiosity.
How did you get the keys?
How do you think?
Give them to me.
I'll give them to their owner.
You've no business looking in this desk.
That's why I'm a highly paid journalist. I look where I've no business to look.
Not while I'm here.
And how long is that going to be? In more senses than one.
Go back to bed.
I'm not your underling now. Anyway, Robin's not back from London. There's no point in my going to bed until he's here. If you call me names, I shall get very rude and nasty and call you an old maid.
I'll report you.
You can't. He's dead. Interesting.
Yes. Underling?
I began my meteoric career as her assistant, the secretary's secretary.
But branched out.
Her devotion to the late Lord Chedworth was greater than mine. You have to go now.
Yes. We were interrupted just as I was about to.
If I can explain...
My dear chap, don't. Let me have the pleasure of guessing. You've come here this morning to assure me with your hand on your heart that your uncle's death had nothing to do with anyone at all.
Well, yes.
And above all, nothing to do with Miss Eleanor Gray. Am I right?
Well, I am naturally concerned.
Of course, perfectly natural.
Since she's to be my wife, for no other
Your
reason.
wife must be above suspicion.
As she is.
Not one of you is.
Look, you're not a policeman any longer.
And I have the duties of a normal citizen.
Like the duties of creating unnecessary suffering.
It is, in my experience, usually better for the truth to be known.
Not always.
There are exceptions to the rule. I've yet to discover that this is one of the exceptions.
Will you take my word for it?
I'm not a great word taker.
Look, my uncle died of a heart attack.
I think I've learned enough by now to give me a very good idea of how your uncle died. Do you want to tell me the truth? Or shall I tell you?
You tell me.
Lucilla, would you bring me in that letter we were writing? As a normal citizen, I thought it best to set it all out in a letter to my old friend, the Commissioner at Scotland Yard. Thank you. As you see, it's not yet finished. I'm prepared to delay finishing it, if I may come to, say, at tea time today. I should like the following to be present. Yourself, Mr. Grant, Miss Gray, Miss Hillier, and, of course, Tomlinson, to hand round the buttered scones. In my life, I feel like one of those detectives of popular fiction, assembling all the suspects in one room and suddenly, swiftly swinging round.
Don't swing round too fast. I haven't finished yet.
And naming the most unlikely person as the one who done it.
You have a slight case of dandruff.
Would I had more hair to have more of it?
Ready.
However,
Dapper.
Dashing.
Thank you. No, I'll drive.
What for?
Since I've done all the work on this case myself. I think you all know why we're here.
We've been favored with a digest of your letter to the Commissioner.
My unfinished letter.
Well, I'll give you my comments on the first half.
Do.
It's the biggest load of rubbish since the last time we had an election.
You all agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Nevertheless, I propose to send it to the Commissioner, and he will undoubtedly wish to carry the matter further.
How?
The usual way, sending detectives to investigate.
In the face of our denials?
Detectives are accustomed to denials, especially when they come from suspects. I have made out at least a prima facie case.
Against all of us?
Exactly, against all of you.
You're mad.
I have produced a very reasonable solution to the mystery of Lord Chedworth's death.
But there's no mystery.
Mr. Brush, if I may call you that to distinguish you from your uncle, the body in question, who made it a mystery in the first place?
We were doing what we thought best.
May I tell you what you did and draw the obvious conclusion? You all lied about my coming here. And with Tomlinson as principal liar,
Sir.
you all lied about the place and the manner of the death.
For reasons.
No reason can wipe out the evidence of a conspiracy involving every one of you to conceal the truth about the death, which presupposes a conspiracy to murder.
No. No.
Tomlinson, will you get Miss Hillier a glass of water?
Yes, sir.
Tea and buttered scones will be for afterwards.
You're talking the most unmitigated rubbish.
Am I? You all hated Lord Chedworth? You all wished him dead?
Not me, sir.
Tomlinson, you really shouldn't get drunk with my assistant.
You mean...
Now give Miss Hillier that water without spilling it if possible.
Yes, sir.
I make an exception of Miss Hillier since she can't speak for herself. I can only suppose that at the moment of death she transferred her loyalty to the successor. Le Lord est mort, vive le Lord. Miss Hillier, I know you are not part of the original conspiracy, or you'd have reported the fact to Lord Chedworth. You're merely an accessory after the fact.
So, we murdered him, did we?
You knew that Lord Chedworth had told me that he feared an attempt on his life.
Did we know? Did we?
Or you wouldn't have needed to deny my visit.
We denied it because...
Shut up. Go on with the fairy tale.
You decided to take the calculated risk of killing Lord Chedworth straight away.
And how, Mr. Know-all, did we kill him?
Oh, there are quite a number of ways of putting an old man to sleep. Especially when the doctor is an equally old man, as blind as a bat, can't tell the difference between a heart attack and a slight case of impetigo.
Do you propose to ask for a post-mortem?
I shall hand it all over to the Commissioner. Unless, of course, you have a better explanation.
No.
Pity. I rather hoped you might. Mr. Brush?
No.
In that case, may I go on with the as yet unwritten second half of my letter?
Don't bother.
Some of you may prefer it to the first half. In it, I shall propose an alternative solution. That Lord Chedworth had no reason whatsoever to fear an attempt upon his life. That what he had done with the malignity of age was to invent a new and ingenious way of humiliating the whole lot of you.
Oh, God, can't you see? He's been fooling us the whole time. He knows what happened. You know what happened, don't you?
As near as damn it.
All right. Here's damn it. I'll tell you.
I've just had here with me the ablest detective of our time, Chief Inspector Rose.
Yes, you have his contract.
Speak when I ask you a question.
Sorry.
It may be a long wait. This has nothing to do with his book. I made Chief Inspector Rose an offer. He's coming back here tomorrow morning to accept it. What time, Miss Hillier?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. He will then take up residence in this house and continue to live here indefinitely.
Are we allowed to ask why?
One of you knows why. Perhaps more than one.
And the rest of us must guess.
The rest of you can help.
Help to do what?
Find out who is trying to kill me, as at least one of you is.
Not me, sir.
Miss Hillier, you give me my medicine. Tomlinson, you give me my food. You're the most obvious suspects of all.
No.
And you other three. I need hear no denials, no cries of protest.
Well, is that supposed to be a question?
Yes.
I'm not trying to kill you.
Why not? I drove your father to his grave, didn't I?
Yes.
Don't you want revenge?
Sometimes.
Haven't you any guts?
No.
Tom Grant, I made your life a misery. Don't you want me dead?
You know me. I never get beyond thinking about it.
Someone is trying it. And I'm hiring Rose to find out who. If you see anything suspicious, tell Rose. It's a warning and an order according to which you are. Right, thank you. Good morning.
Is it just luck that I'm the only one you didn't accuse?
Yes, good morning.
Didn't specifically point the finger at?
Do you want me to?
Yes.
Right. I point a finger. Satisfied? You can go.
No.
Eleanor.
Not yet.
Eleanor, let's go.
This is the morning for news. Did you know I was marrying Robin?
I heard a rumor.
Did you know that I've been sleeping with him for the past 3 years?
I'll believe it.
Did you know that in spite of everything you've done for him, he's more of a man than you are?
You bitch.
Oh, don't worry. I've never slept with Lord Chedworth. Often as he's asked me, much as he still wants me. I don't fancy him, that's all. I only fancy his victims. Can't you see what he's doing to us now? There's no truth in this story about killing him. He's cooked it up, that's all. It's part of the process of wrecking us. So we can't talk to each other, so we can't trust each other, so we can't even marry each other.
Miss Gray, you are fired.
And that's all he can really say. Miss Gray, you are fired. But I've seen Lord Chedworth, not behind a great desk, not in a regal wheelchair.
No, you must.
But standing on his own 2 tottering feet in my bedroom at night, making a senile, futile, ludicrous attempt on my virtue.
No.
I am not accustomed to being refused.
Stop her, stop her.
I've seen the Emperor naked, and I tell you the Emperor has no clothes, and he looks like nothing.
Get out, all of you. Go away. He's dead.
And that's what happened.
Thank you.
What are you going to do?
I shall tear up my letter to the Commissioner.
But you never intended to send anyway.
Never.
And you'll do nothing.
Nothing.
What was it you wanted? Tea and buttered scones?
Tomlinson will provide.
Here, sir, or in the drawing room?
I think in the drawing room.
You go on. I'll bring Miss Hillier. What was in the glass? The wrong medicine or a massive overdose of the right one, enough to give the final shock? The one thing that didn't fit. They all hated Lord Chedworth. You loved him. What were you doing in the conspiracy? The only possible reason was that you were involved in the death as something more than a spectator. That's why I wanted to hear their story, to know how it ended. And it ended with you. I hope and believe that I can understand how you felt when you found out that your beloved Emperor... I hope and am willing to believe that when you gave him that drink, he was dead already. As his heart had been for some years. Will you join us for tea?